Recording.
Great. Well, this is David Lee. This is our March 23rd episode of Astro Cafe. Welcome everybody. As we have been normally doing, anybody online or at Fairfield who is new or new to us?
My
No.
mother-in-law is sitting with me,
Have you
Eva Mills.
Oh, welcome.
delighted to be here? Not for the first time.
Wonderful.
No,
Yeah. Anyone else? All right. It looks like we have a full schedule tonight. We've got Randy, who's going to tell us about maybe in more detail than I did last week on Dragonfly and the new manifestation of Dragonfly called MOTHRA. I think Dan's going to tell us some sad news, I guess, about SpaceX satellites. And I've got a report on the most recent visit to Sidhu's site, and oh my God, C8s after C8s at that site. But I'll tell you more in a little while. And I think I've asked Chris Gainor to give us an Artemis 2 update, which the launch appears to be imminent. So we'll hear the latest from him. So I think, is there anybody with announcements tonight? I think probably David Payne. You probably want to announce the astrophoto SIG this Wednesday. Are
Sure,
you there? Are you there, David?
sure.
Maybe you can maybe talk a little bit about that. And any other announcements? Laurie, do you have things to talk about?
did you,
Yes,
did
let's
you
talk about
include Nick?
IAD.
Mhm. Yes,
Did you
Randy.
include Nick? Nick has an announcement.
Yeah, David, if I can have, whenever you have time, about
Oh yeah,
2 minutes.
absolutely.
2 minutes.
I'll put you in here.
Yeah.
So we'll put you either mid or right at the end. Okay, so why don't we just start? I'll just start with a really quick update on Sid's site. A big thank you to Lauri and CJ and Brock and Chris Purse who came out to the site this Sunday, and we unearthed yet another layer out of the garage. And I actually see now we have over 10 SCTs, like either Celestron blue or I mean orange or black, and Meads, over 10 of them of 8-inch or greater, and then we have a few that are a little bit smaller, but lots of SCTs. So that probably deserves a whole Astro Cafe on the history of C8s, I think. But aside from that, we have really started to be maybe a little bit more ruthless about what we keep. So a lot of the rickety old department store scopes, uh, well, they lost the battle. But we still have a lot of stuff, and I believe the next visit will probably have to involve people who are like makers, like Vince, because there's a lot of spare parts out there, and I want to give people like Vince a chance to look through it before we do something else with them. So I don't know if there's any questions. If anybody wants to continue to help us with this project, that would be great. But really, what I need now, once I get the catalog assembled and put it online, I really could use some help in terms of finding homes, either through liquidation or long-term loan. But yeah, we need homes. We don't have any money for storing any of these things, so we're going to have to find homes. And I think before this even started, Joe was telling me that there are people looking to divest themselves of astronomy equipment. Joe, the site that you showed me, that's on our website, right? I think Joe, you're there?
Yes, it is. There's lots of listings there, but I just picked the one that I was working on a couple of days ago, which is a
Yeah.
particularly fine looking collection. Comes with a 15-foot dome,
Whoa.
Wow.
There you go.
two grand telescopes, and over 30 eyepieces, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, this is as I mentioned before, this is like the tip of the iceberg. We we are in the time when a lot of this equipment's going to become available. So, anyways, I just want to let you know the
Dave,
progress.
David, I have a quick question.
Sure.
You're not throwing away getting rid of any counterweights
No, we have
or
parts.
rods?
So I mentioned, David, I mean, like I left maker stuff and sort of usable components like counterweights. We still have them. We're not throwing them away.
Okay, if you have extra, let me know because it's a pain to buy them. I mean, you pay for shipping of
Oh,
basically a
absolutely.
dead weight.
Absolutely. In fact, David, if you want to come out to the site next time Vince is out, maybe you want to see what we have and prevent us from, getting rid of them. I mean, things that I know are going to be useful, like counterweights, which, I mean, it's not old technology, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of keep those. In fact, we were just holding ourselves back from keeping every single bolt. We're not going to do that. So anything that people, and in fact, if you want us to look for certain things, like you just have told me, that would be great, and we'll put a lot of things aside if that's the kind of thing you're looking for.
So how will I know when something like that is happening?
I can let you know. I'll put your name down here as somebody who would like to help, and then I will ask.
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent.
David,
And yes,
is an unheated garage acceptable for those C8s that are in cases?
I would say yes. I don't think as long as it's dry, I don't think
They're in an unheated garage now.
exactly.
Oh, really?
We're not going to do any more damage.
They've been there for years.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Hey,
no, I can definitely, some space in the back of my garage would be available for this.
okay, well
16.
that's really good to know. Brock, do you have any additional comments from the last visit?
Well, I mean, we did actually assemble. We had uh, a few mounts that Mead and another mount a couple other mounts that came together. We finally found like the legs that matched up with the mounts and the mount that
Mhm.
didn't seem to be there at all. But so those have been found. To Dave Payne's question, most of the counterweights we have are for the sort of department store sort of
Yeah, they're not huge
scopes
ones.
that are like for half-inch shafts and stuff.
Mhm.
There hadn't been any sort of larger counterweights around. In fact, there's that CGE mount that has, I don't know if I haven't found any of the weights for that, but there's still some spelunking to do in that
Oh yeah, there
space.
are there are two full cabinets, like
Yeah.
wooden cabinets with stuff in them, and I'm calling it like the accessory drawer. Well, bigger than a drawer, but there's a bunch of stuff there. So I
Yeah.
suspect we will find some things there,
Yeah.
and I know that Reg is looking for the Felior micrometer as well, and we don't know where that is yet. So I don't think it's in the observatory, but it may be in one of the cabs.
I was thinking for one of the new harmonic drives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are some. I mean, as Brock mentioned, we assembled as many as we could, but there are some maybe we won't find and there'll be spare weights,
Mhm.
right? It's quite possible.
Yeah.
David, I
Okay.
was just going to say
We
that
won't throw any out.
we did find something that was really interesting was Sid had taken possession of all of George Ball's
Oh, yes.
equipment. So we
Mhm.
have old telescopes. We have some really neat stuff that is in beautiful boxes that are all, hand done in the boxes so
Oh,
everything
yeah.
fits and everything. But the one really neat one was a big telescope that had it had a shipping label on it saying that it came over on the Queen Elizabeth
I
from
know.
England.
Oh, yeah. I was
And
just astounded by some of the
just
labels.
yeah,
Yeah.
old. It's pretty cool stuff, but I don't know what we're going to do with it all because it is quite old and probably not terribly usable except for any historical value that there might be
Mhm.
something there. I have no idea. So
Nominally, we'll definitely photograph them, and then maybe I don't know. Maybe people that love old things might
Yeah.
want them. Like it's possible. I mean, there's a little mount, a little EQ mount. I don't know if George made it, but it is a work of art. It's like jewelry.
yeah,
You
just
know the one I'm
beautiful.
talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you could even display it in your living room if you want, if you don't want to use it, right? It's
Anyway,
quite pretty. Anyways,
we'll get
that's
back to
just a
you.
report. Yeah, we'll get back to everybody. So that's the little report on the excavation. If you want to help or if you're looking for particular things, just certainly drop me a line and let me know. Okay, and I think we're going to start with you, Randy. We can. Last week I mentioned. Kind of a project that we heard about through Deborah Lockhurst, I think probably in 2012, 13, where they started to put together large blocks of optics, like just generic kind of telephoto optics from Canon. And that has since morphed into something called MOTHRA. And I guess we're going to hear the story about that. Yeah, take it away, Randy.
Right. We're having a bit of a technical difficulty, which looks like Chris is trying to fix up. Because I had to use only one screen last week.
Okay.
But so if I do
We're looking okay from our point of view. If you just put it into presentation mode, we should be good. Yeah, that's great.
okay, it's not going to our second screen yet.
Okay.
Oh, that's how we're doing it. Okay.
So I want to go back to the way it was originally.
Well, this will work though. This is good. So, Dragonfly and MOTHRA. And interestingly, I'm just going to start by saying that the MOTHRA telescope, Deborah talked about in one of the presentations that's on YouTube, that they have trademarked the name and they're doing a backronym. They're trying to figure out what they're going to use as the words that go with MOTHRA. But it's named after this lovely 1950s Japanese beast. And it's a lot of it is because the moth and the dragonfly have this segmented eye. And I find this is the most remarkable picture. I'm pretty sure that's done from the dome right next to the Victoria Center Observatory. And
I think they've frozen.
Yeah, I thought it was me, but I guess it's not. Is everybody else online? I guess
Yes,
so.
I think you should skip to the next speaker and let them sort it out.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We could do a short one. We could do Dan. Dan's got a little bit of a highlight of an article from a website called the Conversation, and it's about SpaceX, and one of the co-authors is Sam Lawler. Yeah, go ahead, Dan. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself, Dan.
I don't. Hi, I don't know if I'm sharing yet. Share request, share. Oh dear, this is the problem. How do I share my screen again? Oh, it's one of these buttons up here.
Yeah, you must be on a Mac.
Oh yes, sign in. I'm so sorry. Is it under edit window meeting?
It should be at the
Share.
bottom. Share.
Start share. Here we go. Okay. Allow.
And then you have to go one more. You got to pick a screen and then
pick a
screen that
and
your
then-
presentation's on.
there we go. Okay.
yeah, there we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Good
Okay. So this is literally just something that came up in my Apple News feed on my iPhone, and it's says 1 million new SpaceX satellites will destroy the night sky for everyone on Earth. Reads the headline. And I noticed that it was co-authored by Samantha Lawler, who spoke to us not too long ago. I can't remember exactly when, but it was in the fall sometime, right? Anybody knows?
I don't know the exact date either.
and this is co-authored by Aaron Bowley from UBC and Hanno Rain from U of T. And yeah, this website, the conversation is I don't know how you characterize it, but it's kind of a free and freewheeling kind of website where people can post original articles and opinion pieces and so forth. And this is kind of a combination of a little bit of research, but also sort of a call to I don't know if you say call to arms, but it's certainly disturbing when you read it. It talks about how all of these new satellites are going up, and not just for communications, but also for all of this space-based AI, these space-based data centers that are going up. And so the authors basically review their. By the way, how do I share the link to this? That must be
You can
another thing I
paste
can
it
do.
into the chat. That's one thing you can do.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the.
You can just grab it from the top part and do a copy and then paste into the chat.
I wouldn't worry about that, Dan. I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah,
okay,
Joe will populate it after the fact.
I'll track it down.
Oh, thank you. I can't. Oh dear, it's my. Sorry.
How are people doing down in Fairfield? I haven't seen anybody
back
yet.
online.
Yeah.
We
Are you
lost
ready?
our internet.
That's okay.
Okay. So is that it, Dan? Or
Oh yeah, no. So anyway, I guess the part that really got me was this chart here. Can you still see that?
Yep. Yeah, still can see it.
So this is what the night sky would look like with a million of these darn satellites up there. And these couple of paragraphs really hit me. It said, let's see. Sorry, I have to scroll up. Yeah, so each of our simulations, they conducted these simulations, will show there will be more visible satellites than stars for large portions of the night and the year. So, I mean, you look up and you see satellites mostly, not stars. That's incredible, and it's anyway, you can read more about it in the article. But I just thought that would be of interest. I don't know what to do about it. How other individuals or even small groups like ours respond to this? But these plans seem to be going ahead. There's some opposition by astronomy groups, but it's
I sort of remember their response was that they were going to try to change the reflectivity of the satellites and things. I don't know whatever came of that.
No, they've given up on that. But the best way to push back against this is the FAA has a poll online at the moment that allows you to sort of vote and indicate your endorsement or disgust or whatever you want to call it to them, because the approvals they're in the approval process as of right now. And the other way to do it, of course, is to connect with Sam Lawler. I can put her link in the notes. She's quite active on Mastodon, which is a alternative social network that she frequents. She does not frequent any of the mainstream ones.
Okay. Well,
and Sam is going to be one of our main speakers at the GA on the 3rd of March, 3rd of May, sorry. So she's going to be bringing us completely up to date with everything that is happening with all of this. So looking forward to it. So another reason to come to the GA.
Another plug.
Another plug for the GA.
Good. That's wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Dan, for bringing that to our attention. And yes, everybody should register for for the GA for sure. Okay. Let me think. Randy, are you back online? Are we ready to go again?
I am back.
Randy is back. Okay. Here we go.
Okay. So, the whole goal is to look at the stuff which is otherwise very dim. So it's called low surface brightness astronomy. And the example that Deborah gave in one of her talks is most telescopes are optimized for seeing point sources, stars or galaxies, which are made out of point sources. But as we spread out the same amount of light over a larger area, it then gets hidden by the sky. In the same way that we don't see the stars and the moon during the daytime, at nighttime you don't see the really dim stuff, even with the very, very dark sky that you have in the high mountains. There's still enough emission out there that we're looking at these areas that have very little contrast. And so we have to figure out how to get rid in your telescope of all diffraction and flare. So you can see all of these stars. This is the Hubble Deep Field, and you can see these diffraction lines, and these are point sources, and yet there's this whole area around the stars that is there's this. It's called diffraction and flare, where you get these extra light that are getting in the way of looking at the black stuff between. And the diffraction, you're going to get this in every reflecting telescope. This is a cross section of the Hubble, and you see the secondary mirror is held by these rods. It's called the spider, and that's what causes these crosses at each star in the picture, and you can't get rid of it. It's just the way it is. So maybe the way to be able to see the really dark sky is to not have these encumbrances in your optical path, which you can do with a refractor. But the problem is, as glass gets really big and is only held around on its edge, it actually sags under its own weight. And so the largest objective lens in a telescope is here at the Yerkes Observatory, and it's I don't know, 1896 or something like that. And nobody makes bigger ones since. There are some bigger lenses, but they're like the lens in the Rubin telescope is like 1.5 meters, but it's in an otherwise a reflecting mirror. Anyway, you can't, and it's also f/19. It's not a fast telescope. And if you don't want to spend forever looking at your target, you need to have f2, f1, even better. So this is just an example from my camera. Lovely sunset at Ucluelet. But this thing over the island here, that is flare. Okay, that's internal reflections in my lens. And you can imagine, if you're trying to look at the dark stuff, like this island, how do you know whether that is emissions that are coming from the island, or is that actually a ghost from the other bright objects in the field?
And you get tube currents.
And you get what?
Tube currents.
Tube currents.
Air currents in the tube, this whole
Yes. This is an example of David's, where he wanted to show Venus in the Pleiades. But in order to make the Pleiades bright enough, he had to totally blow out Venus. And you see that it's not a nice crisp, in this case, a gibbous phase, but it's very hard to avoid that sort of diffraction and flare, no matter what your equipment is. So, in 2014, there's this really wonderful paper. Abraham is a professor in Toronto. He's in fact Deborah Lockhurst's professor, and Peter Van Dokkum is in Yale. And it's a delightful paper, but especially there are two footnotes, which just made me laugh. And I think very few people will have read this paper in enough detail to see the jokes that they put in. Anyway, it's wonderful. I think I really love it when scientists put in these little what do you call them, Easter eggs. So what's the object? Low surface brightness. Well, mirrors are always getting dust on them, and they have micro roughness, and they always have obstructed pupils. And so you get these sources of ghosts, of flaring and diffraction. And so it's a real problem with any reflecting telescope. And they say what you want is actually a fast refracting telescope. But the largest is that Yerkes telescope, which is F19, not fast. So then they go on saying, oops, but we do have fast refracting telescopes. They're all over the place. The commercial camera companies are producing these wonderful telephoto lenses. They put a lot of money into their research and development, and they're available. And so these two astronomers said, well, why don't we just use a whole bunch of them? Clever idea. So f2.8, that's getting down. That's pretty good. And up to 500. But they settled on a 400 millimeter f2.8 lens, which, it's totally designed because the sports photographers and the wildlife photographers, they need to have something fast because they're looking at things that are moving. They need them to be really good, baffling and non-reflective surfaces, because sometimes what you're looking at is towards the sun and you don't want to get that flare. So they put in all of this R&D, and this is the lens that they settled on. It's Canon, a 400 millimeter f2.8. It's got things that they don't use, like the vibration reduction, but they do use the internal focus. That turns out to be very, very useful for them. And they just shut off the vibration reduction. I know you're interested, what do these cost? And so it's interesting. They were designed in 2011. That's a long time for a lens to be in production. But here they are, new, they're costing $17,000. I'm quite amazed that the used ones you can get for, what is that? A quarter of the price. No, that's less than a quarter. That's a sixth. So what's going on? But
That's the old lens mount for a
Yeah.
SLR.
Yeah.
As opposed to a mirrorless.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But
They're slightly different. They're different designs.
Need a spacer for that. Anyway, it remains a really good lens, and it's got these coatings, and so it's called super spectra coating. And I googled that, and I love this. The definition of super spectra coating is double whammy super bling extended plus coating. Or we use a coating that we have developed that does what we need a coating to do. It works better than the old stuff we used to use. Don't ask. That being said, okay, so anytime you have a surface which is going to refract the light, some of the light goes in, transmission, and some bounces, reflection. And then going back to the 19th century, they figured out that you could put coatings on the glass, and if you do it correctly, so you choose a refractive index, N is the refractive index. If you choose it correctly, and you make the right thickness, you can make it so that the reflections, they destructively interfere, so you don't get as much reflection and you get more transmission. Very, very clever. However, it doesn't do the whole trick. And so then there is this nano surface thing where they put this kind of bumpy surface on. And by doing this, again, with the right materials and the right thicknesses and the right texture, they're able to get 99.4% of the light through. Quite amazing. Now, the camera. I'm kind of really surprised at the camera because look at the size. 18 by 13.5 millimeters. That's micro four thirds. That's not full frame or the ASPC, which a lot of people are using now. My camera, my Olympus, is a micro four thirds, but this is 8 megapixels and mine is 12 megapixels. So this is not cutting edge technology. But they designed this years ago. I don't know whether the new one is using the same camera, but with a 400 millimeter lens, and the pixels are 5.4 micron, that means 2.9, almost 3 seconds per pixel. And it's a very big field of view. So 2.5 by 2 degrees, that will be big enough that you can get the whole, what do you call it? The whole region around a galaxy, typically, for a local galaxy, will fit in one view, so you don't have to do mosaics. You can do the whole thing in one view. Okay, so what you do is you...
Randy.
Yeah.
Do they have mirrors too?
No mirrors.
Yeah, because that's I just was looking at a camera because of that, and because I was going to go to Africa again. But anyway.
Oh, mirrorless cameras are the way to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you were talking about it, so I had to get another camera body, and it was cheaper than because it's used, right? But I tell you, it was very expensive. It could be very expensive.
Oh, you can spend a lot of money. You can spend a lot of money on cameras. Anyway, so here is a set of 24 of these lenses and their cameras rigidly placed together. And what's kind of cool is it's a paramount mount. Now, can somebody who knows our equipment, 5 meters away from this dome, is that exactly the same mount that we use?
We have an MX, actually. This is an ME.
What's the difference?
The ME is a little bit newer. The X is a little bit older. The fork mounting is not what we have. We have a much different kind of arm on it. It doesn't look like this, but the guts are it's very similar or the same. The control system is the same.
Yeah. So part of the reason I like the Dragonfly so much is that we can really associate with it. It's not that different than amateur astronomy and photography equipment. The cameras are very special. The lenses are good, but they're not. You could go to the camera store and buy it. The mount is something very similar to what amateurs are using. So this is one of the Easter eggs. I'll read this out. We chose to name the concept the Dragonfly Telephoto Array for the following reasons. 1, we took inspiration from the compound eyes of insects when developing the central ideas behind the array. So that's the one that I think most of us were thinking of. But 2, the operational concepts that form the basis of the critical sub-wavelength nanostructure. That's that bumpy surface that Canon does. It's not that they did it. They're just using the research and development done by the Canon company. So that's the critical sub-wavelength nanostructure coatings were discovered by researchers investigating the unusually high transmittance of insect wings. Basically, dragonfly wings are really, really transparent because they've got that little bit of bumpiness. Very clever. And then C, one of the authors really likes taking pictures of dragonflies.
Oh,
And this, he actually published a book, Yale University Press. You can buy a book by the second author of this paper. I think that's delightful. The other really good footnote, so this is at the end of an academic paper, you always have acknowledgments. And then at the very end of the acknowledgments, it says, this project emerged as a result of a bet made by Abraham and Van Ducken at the Mount Everest Nepalese restaurant on Bloor Street in Toronto. We thank the United Breweries Group of Bangalore for providing us with inspiration on the night in question. But then there's this footnote, 20, and you look down at the bottom of the page, and it says, Abraham lost. I'd love to know what the bet was, but I bet it was something like, Van Delcom says, I bet we could take a whole bunch of commercial lenses, stick them together, and actually make something that would be useful for doing this low surface brightness work. And Abraham said, you got to be crazy. And then they put a bet on it. And this is the result. I just love that.
Where did the United Breweries Group
I was
come
gonna
in?
say
Yes.
I suppose there were a few beers.
I think there were a few beers that night.
Exactly.
We're supposed to assume that, yeah.
Anyway, so the deal is the effective equivalent telescope diameter and F ratio gets better the more of these telescopes you put together. So they decided after doing, so Deborah Locker's thesis was on a 3-lens array. And she did really good work with that 3-lens array. And then, I don't know what the 120 is, because it's the Dragonfly, which is situated in New Mexico, has 48.
Well, the original actually, I think, is 24 spread across 2 mounts.
24 on each mount.
Spread across 2 mounts, yeah. So 24 on each.
Mount, and there are 2 of them in New Mexico.
Yes.
And this 1,000, it actually is 1,140.
Over 24 mounts or something? I can't remember how many mounts. There's quite a number of mounts.
Let's take a look. So it is being situated in Chile. Here's Chile. And it's crazy. I went into Google Earth and it is desert. It's this painted desert with one road going through it. And here is this, it's like Ken Webster's telescope farm. Where's your farm, Ken?
Texas, I think.
Oh, I saw him earlier.
Yeah, it's in Rockwood, Texas.
Okay. So it's something like this, where there are these huts, and every time that the sky is clear, the roof comes off. Anyway, they've put 2 of these huts up on this mountaintop in the desert of Chile. And one of the reasons that they're separated is that helps with the satellites. There's enough separation that if a satellite goes over one, you won't see it in the other one. So that's one of the ways that they're avoiding the effect of all of those communication satellites. And then on March 11th, there was a big press release and lots of interviews. And it's interesting because Deborah's talk last summer, she couldn't name the angel. They actually have a private donor who is paying for the whole thing, but she says we can't name this investor, this funder, until the press release, which will happen this summer. And in fact, it didn't happen until a couple of weeks ago. But then it was all over the place. It was in the Globe. It was in every newspaper, and that's why David brought it up last week. So while I talk about the press release, I'm going to start this. This is in the Globe and Mail web version, they have this lovely time lapse of them setting up one of these mounts. Oh, and it is interesting how shallow that is. That's because this is set up for Chile. We're not used to the polar axis being so shallow. Anyway, so El Sos Observatory, that's in Chile, very close to the extremely large telescope. And so, yeah, this is the acronym, the backronym, Massive Optical Telephoto Hyperspectral Robotic Array. But they started with MOTHRA and then they fixed that up. And it was unveiled on Wednesday, and 1,140 telephoto lenses. It sprang from a sincere desire to do science in a faster and better way, said Roberto Abraham, the one who lost the bet. And then this Alex Gurko, he's the angel. I looked him up in Google. He's Russian and he lives in London, and he does AI analysis of companies to invest in, and he's made a bundle of money. And he has the distinction of being the top taxpayer in the United Kingdom. I didn't even know that's a statistic that people do, and he's probably not the richest person in the United Kingdom, but he's the top. He pays more taxes than anybody else, which is something. Anyway, Gurko found out about this project, and among other things, he has a personal 1 meter diameter telescope at El Sos Observatory. And so he says, why don't you put your things in the same place where I already have my own personal telescope? Wouldn't you like to have a meter diameter personal telescope? Anyway, he's very involved, and it's this thing called a focused research organization that they've set up. So here is Deborah Delorkhurst. I'm not going to go much longer, David, don't worry.
No, that's okay.
But one of the cool things is it's well adapted to have these excellent filters for looking at just the H alpha, the hydrogen in the cloud around the galaxies. And so I showed you a bit of this earlier. You've got these coatings, and you get this spacing correct for the wavelength that you're interested in, and you get transmission for the wavelength that you want, and you don't get transmission for the other ones. But what happens if you tilt this thing? If you tilt it, then the length between these surfaces increases. And so by tilting the filter, you're actually able to tune the wavelength. So she said that very typically filters, bandpass filters, or narrowband filters, are 10 nanometers in width. Okay, so it lets light through this band and doesn't let light through outside that. Now, please, our astrophotographers, when you're doing narrowband, what sort of width are you using?
It varies, I guess. David, you're using like 3s, aren't you? I don't know. David's there.
Between 3s and 8s.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, people used to use 12s, but that's pretty wide by today's standards.
Okay, and is anybody using one nanometer?
I don't even know if that exists for us. I mean,
H alpha for the sun observation is a 1 angstrom filter. The H alpha for the sonoscope.
That amateurs. Oh, right. You're right.
That's 10 nanometers.
Anyway, one nanometer width exists. I don't know how difficult it is, but there's another. Oh yeah, and so this is just saying that as you tilt, then you move where you are. And one thing that's kind of handy is nitrogen and hydrogen are very close to each other in the spectrum. And so the same filter, just by tilting, you can get through both of these bands. And so this is another thing about the Dragonfly, which is kind of subtle. Usually, you don't put your filter in front of your telescope because it has to be 8-inch wide, 12-inch wide, depends on what your telescope is, but it's a lot of filter. So what you do is you go through all your optics and you put it just at your eyepiece or your camera, and it's nice and small. And that's great, except it won't work with this tilting game because the light, as it approaches your eye, is coming in all different angles. Whereas for the tilting trick to work, you want all the light to come in parallel. Okay? Yeah, Chris.
I was just going to say, if you want to see that in action, look at a solar telescope.
That's right. You have the tilting.
Yeah.
You have
to tune them.
Right. And that's
how it works. It just pushes one side.
And that one you do use outside the objective.
It has to. It's on the front end.
Yeah, because you don't want to heat up your telescope. That's really.
But then those telescopes are not very wide.
Yeah. So take a look at what happens with. This is the 0.8. So that's like the 1 nanometer bandpass filter, and if you use it where an astronomer normally would next to the camera, then it doesn't have that really tight bandpass, and that's a good reason not to spend the money on this really tight bandpass, because it's almost the same as what you get with the 3, and it's certainly a lot more money. But when it's outside the optics, then when you tilt it, the shape stays the same, but the frequency, the wavelength changes. That's really cool. So this in Deborah Locker's presentation that's on YouTube was a movie, and I just took 3 screenshots, and I'm going to go back and forth. But you'll see as it goes through the sequence, there are parts of that galaxy which are more at the red side and parts that are more at the blue side. And if you put that all together, this is a radial velocity picture of this galaxy. You can actually, with this technique, measure its rotation. So that's very important. But I also want you to look at this is the whole frame. This is just a blow up. The slide that says NGC 2403 is a blow up of this thing showing the whole, what is it, 2.5 by 2 degrees. So let's go back and forth again. And you see those bands? Do you see those? Those? So that is because of the different angles that the light is coming into the camera. And it's that very tiny little bit of difference that you get over that large an area. And it's the sort of thing that you can correct for. Once you understand it, then you can actually get rid of that, because you have to subtract the background in order to do these incredibly low light measurements that they're trying to do. So I'm going to stop there. There is a whole bunch about the actual science that comes out of these, and one could talk forever, but it's just the technology and the way that they have taken this consumer grade technology and made a professional grade telescope, I think is delightful. And that's where I'm going to stop.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much, Randy. And I think it's also worthwhile for people to go to the Sky and Telescope article as well. They talk about a large number of other types of scopes. In fact, I think there was one I was reading about that instead of using 400 millimeter Canon lenses, they were actually using Tech refractors, which I think were 180 millimeters. So they're relatively large refractors. David.
Well, I just
David?
wanted to say if anyone's really interested in the science of how those filters and how those narrowband filters work, quantum electrodynamics or quantum mechanics has got a really elegant solution to it where classical physics kind of fails. So it's just a general interest if someone wants to read up on them.
Can you give us a link in chat or something like that, David?
Well, I would start off with Feynman's book.
Okay.
It's written for lay people. QED, it's called.
Sounds good. Okay, great. Thanks, Randy. And David, since we've got you there, can you tell us, give us an announcement for this Wednesday?
Oh yes, Wednesday is our monthly astrophotography SIG meeting. We're going to be going over some developments in denoising photographs. We're going to be going over our joint project, which has so far been a dud. Everyone in the group is going to be imaging the same target with their home equipment or other equipment, and we're going to be compiling that. We were supposed to compile it Wednesday, and everyone was supposed to get out to process during April, but the weather has been such a dud that I don't think anyone's been able to image the target yet. We've got a few new images coming from Cannes, and I threw some photographs I took last year, but hopefully the next month will be a little bit more fair, yeah, more clear.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested, you can get the whole data set by coming along, or you can actually contribute if you're not normally part of the group, but have your own astrophotography gear. Everyone's welcome. Go on our website and sign up for the special interest group, and you'll get an invite.
That's great. Thanks so much, David. Actually, now that we're on the announcement kick, when we go through them before we get to the Artemis update, Lauri, I think you have some announcements. Lauri, are you there?
I was just going to say that we have a couple of things coming up. Obviously the big one is the International Astronomy Day. That is coming up on the 25th of April. And so just literally a month away now, and we'll be at the museum. And I know some of you have already put your hand up and said that you will help. That's great. Thank you very much for everybody who already has. And Steve, I just maybe fall back on some of the leads, like Jeff is one of the leads, and so is Dave Payne. Are you doing the astrophotography?
Gary's in charge.
Gary's in charge. Okay.
I'm just obeying orders this year.
Okay, and we have I'm just looking at Jeff. Is there? I know you've got some people that are ready to do the welcome desk. Is there? If there's anybody else that would like to help with the welcome desk?
I think we're all set at this point.
I think we're okay. Great, good.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're set.
Excellent. And we still have got to get a couple of speakers to give us some things. We're trying through a couple of venues to try to get that, and then we'll get a whole lineup and a schedule ready for everybody to have a look at. So we hope everybody will come down for at least a little bit in the museum. It's always wonderful to have people who are there to just chat with the public and help out with the telescopes outside or inside. That would be terrific. Thank you.
And
Lauri?
there's an evening event as well, right, Lauri?
Yes, yep, there's an evening.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the speaker is for the evening. I'm sorry, I don't have that information, but there Nick, do you know who the speaker is for Astronomy Day? No. Okay. And that will be in the evening. We were up at the center on Saturday night, and we had, even though it was cold, we had we had some really nice skies for the first hour and a half or so of the star party, and people were just it was great to be able to see Venus and Jupiter and Orion and the Orion Nebula, and then the clouds came in. But so anybody that wants to bring up a telescope on Saturday on 25th in the evening, absolutely welcome to do so. That would be just great. And we've got we have telescopes. You don't need to bring your own. We do have some telescopes that you can use outside, especially Dobbs. We've got some nice Dobbs. Well, not little. I mean, they're 8-inch and 10-inch Dobbs that we've got. So yeah.
Okay,
Excellent.
I have a question for everybody. We'd like 1 or 2 volunteers to show off Stellarium on the big screen there.
Yes.
Jill and I did it last year, and but if there's anybody who is even mildly comfortable with knowing their constellations, the people love it.
Now CJ has his hand up. I think either he's volunteering or he has a question.
Yeah, I can volunteer. I showed up last year, and I just been, I did a little bit last year,
Yes.
impromptu presentation, and I'll be joining for the whole day for the Astronomy Day. So you can count me in for the Stellarium presentation or the places where I'm needed.
That's
Excellent.
fantastic.
David, you have a question?
Oh, I was just wondering if Lauri was going to announce anything on the AGM-GA National.
Yes, that was next.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
So then the following weekend is the AGM at the online. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay in your pajamas and do it on Saturday night. Oh my gosh, I don't have the name of the lady sitting in front of me. We have a speaker for Saturday night, so that there's the GA will be Saturday evening. Saturday evening in the East. So it's actually about 4 o'clock our time on Saturday, between kind of 4 and 8, or 4 and 7, something like that. We'll have our speaker and a little bit of some social time, and then on Sunday we have a full set of speakers that on the West Coast will be starting right at 9 o'clock in the morning and going through till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So with some, I mean, a break and some lunch break and all that kind of thing. And you have got a number of people. In fact, more people from Victoria are giving presentations than any other center. Yay! So we have Dave Payne is going to be speaking. Randy is going to be speaking. Kirsten is going to be speaking. Darren Delorme is going to be speaking, and I think I've left somebody out. Okay, but we also have David is going to be helping with hosting, and I'm going to be somewhere in the background, crazily trying to keep everything going. So please come. The actual schedule is going to be just about finished, and you will be given you will be sent something probably I would think next Monday. You will be sent the forms to register and to get into the GA site, and the prices are going. I mean, I think it's going to cost $20 or something like that to be for the whole time, and that's just is to help out with background background website management and some honorariums and all that kind of thing that we're going to be doing. But we will have Wes Fraser, so some of you heard Wes Fraser at the GA, or sorry, at UVic. He's going to be speaking on the Vera Rubin, and then also Sam Lawler is also going to be speaking for the things that we just talked about with that Dan just brought up as well. So lots and lots of really good interest in that, and I'm hoping everybody will be able to at least come in for part of the day. If you don't have to sit online the entire time, but if you come in for at least a little part of the day, I think that would be really great. And we need to get some people in. So if any questions, I'll be happy to take them. I think by next Monday, you probably will get an email with all the registration and everything on it. So yeah, and it's all
That's
online.
great.
You don't have to go anywhere at all. So
Wonderful. Okay, thanks, Lauri. And Nick, did you have an announcement? Nick, are you there?
Yes, thank you for letting me say a few words. I've taken on the task to do fundraising for the center of the universe, what is not an easy task. They have warned me ahead of time, especially with dealing with the NRC and etc. But we're getting somewhere. So there's a few things we're going to do. On May 22nd, we have, for the first time, we have a saxophone concert playing in the center of the universe. We couldn't do it in the dome because 11 saxophones in the dome would be just hilarious. We have actually a video coming up where Chuck Curry, who is the leader of the saxophone concert, is playing in the dome. And you will see it in the video. It's probably in the 3-4 days. It's on the website. So that's coming up May 22nd, and we're going to have it in the center of the universe, not in where the theater is, but literally in where the exhibits are. Then we have a choir in June. This is not the normal choir, the Vox Mana that we have, but we have another choir coming in. And then we also have this is happening in the dome, of course. We have a string quartet in June or July. We're working on it. And we're going to tell the story of Plaskett with Dennis Crabtree and the actor that is in Northern Star. So in between the pieces, they're going to talk about the story of Plaskett and have anecdotes of it. Then we have Bob McDonald. He is going to do a talk in the Mary Winspear Center. That's September 28th. We have planned that. He's donating his time. And in beginning of November, we have an evening at the pavilion in the Gorge. And that will be a kind of our big fundraising evening with an auction and etc. We will tell more about that. What I'm planning to do is to create for all these events a kind of ending video. And so what I like to do is we're going to create a 4 to 5 minute video that starts more or less on the hill with a RASC member setting up its telescope. We see at the same time, we see Dan Posey setting up the Plaskett telescope inside. Then you see both telescopes start to work and point at the sky. And then we have, for the next couple of minutes, we have spectacular pictures from your members showing the night sky and what the RASC members, what has all been done for beautiful for shots. And of course, we also have the shots of the Plaskett telescope. I don't know if we want to add the James Webb pictures. My personal feeling, we should stick with the RASC pictures and the telescope, the Plaskett telescope pictures, right? We set that to music, so there is no voiceover or anything about it. We have this Thomas Kinzel. He did the music for Northern Star. He will do a music piece with it. And it's really to end the evening and every kind of fundraising event with this beautiful video and showing what has all been done with astrophotography and the Plasket telescope. What I need from you, of course, is the pictures and your permission to use those pictures and put them together. So I don't know how we can organize this, but I have about 2 weeks left before I go for a long trip to Europe. I will not be back before May, about May, mid-May. So I'd like to put this together and give it to Thomas to do the music while I'm gone. So if somehow I can get enough pictures together from all of you, your best shots, you will all get your name at the end from the pictures are taken by, and we will have all the names on there. So that's more or less the plan that I have. So I like to hear your feedback or how we can organize this.
I'm just wondering, Joe, could you maybe organize a collection where people think that they'll drop in the stuff that they like, and then that way you automatically have permission, right, Nick? I mean, that's something we could do.
Yeah.
What's your deadline for doing this, Nick?
Well, I would like to have in the next 14 days, I would like to have all the pictures together.
Okay.
All right.
Does that sound reasonable, Joe? That maybe do something like that?
Well, it's fine as far as the photos that are posted to our Zenfolio posting site, but many of our members also use external sites and they don't post everything to Zenfolio. So they would have to take the initiative and contact Nick directly, I think, for that. But I can certainly put a collection together and promote that through our email
Fantastic.
list.
Yeah. I really
Great.
appreciate that. It's a great showpiece of what you all can do with, because I've seen pictures that you guys took, and it's fantastic. And we really like to show that. We would like to highlight that, right?
Yeah, that's
Nick,
great.
Yes.
Nick, you should join the astrophotography SIG on Wednesday. And you should also prepare an email that will go out to Sky News.
Okay.
Or have Joe put it on the website.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it shouldn't go on the website. It should go direct to members.
Okay.
Direct to members?
Yeah, but you need to submit that through me or through the president.
Yeah,
somebody who has access.
Just prepare the text or the content, and then Joe will take care of the rest.
Excellent. Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Well, great opportunity for our work to be shown. So that's much appreciated.
Great. That's great.
Okay, Chris, are you waiting in the wings? Are you there? I don't hear Chris yet. I'm hoping to have Chris give us an update on Artemis 2, which I think is imminent. Chris, are you there?
I just had to unmute here.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, take it away, Chris.
Okay. Just let me get the share going. So, yes, Artemis 2 is back on the launch pad. It was moved out to the pad in the early hours of Friday, and this photo was taken just as the crawler was taking it up to pad 39B. And the crawler has actually been moved away now, and it's been fixed into place. So we're going to have a series of dates for possible launch starting on Wednesday, April 1st. And The earliest possible time would be about 3:24 in the afternoon. So it will be in Eastern time. That'll be 6:24. But if it gets off on time, it'll probably still be daylight over there. And usually in a given day, they give it a couple of hours. So it may possibly be a nighttime launch, but just let me move this around a bit. Yes, there's the crew of Artemis and the patch, and as we know, we have Jeremy Hansen of Canada and the crew. And these were the original launch dates put out early in the year. So for April, there's actually been a little change here. You see, there's a date on the 1st, and then this not the 2nd, but actually the 2nd is a possible date right through to the 6th. And that's so it's set up that way so that Artemis will and its crew will get a good view of the far side of the moon when they go around there. If they don't get it off by the 6th, then we will probably have another wait until the end of the month. But they actually haven't put out dates beyond the ones you see here. So just a review. This is the plan for the flight. It will be launched from the Cape and go into kind of a low orbit that will take usually an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that, for a checkout, and then it will they will fire the engine again and put it into a higher orbit. And it will be in that orbit for about a day or so, and then finally we will have the translunar injection, which will take it around the moon. It will be somewhat different. This mission has been compared to Apollo 8 or 13, but it's going to go around the far side and then loop back to Earth. It will be its closest passage to the moon will be about 6,000 miles in that neighborhood, and then it will come back. The entire flight is about 10 days, and it should end with a splashdown in the Pacific, actually not too far from San Diego. So anyway, but we hope it will get off on or near April 1st. So far, so that's a little over a week away. So far, everything has been going great. They did some work on it when it was in the vehicle assembly building before they rolled it out. And some of these valves and things which were giving them trouble with the fueling seem to be working excellently. They aren't going to do a test countdown. Basically, we're just moving into the preparations for launch. So we're going to see how it all goes, and hopefully we'll get off on the planned date. So so in a nutshell, that's what's going on with Artemis 2. But there's a bit more news. things are just jumping so much at NASA these days. I always have to go hunting around just before these meetings to make sure nothing else has happened and something has happened. Something is about to happen. So a couple of weeks ago, right at the end of February, we might recall that Jared Isaacman, the administrator of NASA, announced that we are moving. NASA was moving away from the original plan, which was to fly this flight, and then we'd have to wait around for a couple of years, 3 years perhaps, until a landing attempt on Artemis 3. And at the end of February, kind of threw it out. And this is a schematic of that they want to do. They want to start flying Artemis 3 next year, but it will not attempt a landing on that flight. There's a whole bunch of work that has to be done before they're ready to land. Not the least of which involves testing out the vehicles that will actually land on the moon. So I expect to see Artemis 3 next year, and probably a new crew being named for that fairly soon to start getting into their training. But it will be kind of similar to Artemis 2, perhaps an Apollo 9 type mission where they're testing the lunar module. But this kind of brings up the other question: what is the lunar module going to be? Originally, we have the one at the left here, which is a derivative of the Starship from Elon Musk, and then the one at the right is a vehicle being built by Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos's firm. So we got some general detail on that, but I was hunting around a couple of hours ago and found this announcement and verified it on the NASA website. At 6 our time tomorrow morning, 9 in the East, there will be a big presentation at NASA, and they're going to be putting some more flesh on this announcement that Administrator Isaacman gave 2 or 3 weeks ago. And probably more detail about the plans for Artemis 3 and 4 and beyond that. As I've been saying, probably the NASA is going to cancel the Lunar Gateway space station and shift things towards building a base on the surface of the moon. And there have been other announcements about their great interest in nuclear propulsion and things like that. Anyway, this thing here, 4:45 in the afternoon. I'm not sure what that's about, because everywhere else I've looked, it's been talking about first thing in the morning. Anyway, tomorrow is going to be a big day. I thought they were going to put this stuff off until we got Artemis 2 off. But anyway, keep an eye out for tomorrow. And that's just a slide about the previous announcements. So that's basically what is going on with Artemis right now.
So, Chris, where were the best source for the press conferences and such on the NASA site, or?
Well, there is the NASA Plus site, and they often show these things. I've sometimes found them a little difficult to navigate through, and usually what I do is is just go to YouTube and just say Artemis, just if it doesn't pop up, if you don't have your algorithm already trained like I do, I would just do a search for, Artemis or NASA or something like that, and that will be on. I'm actually not sure I'm going to get up that early, but I know that when I do get up, I'll be able to uh, uh, find that somewhere to watch. And then, of course, the various, and I see Natasha has put something,
Oh yeah, I see that.
NASA Plus, which is the where they broadcast and I just forget there's something else. Uh, so it will be easy to find, and then of course space.com and all these other things will have stories on it, and NASA will have releases, and they do social media releases. So that's kind of what's going on. Boy, the changes are happening uh, uh, thick and fast. There's something else. Just let me see if I can find this here.
Yeah, just so you know, Chris, there's a couple of questions, but you carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's have the questions then.
So I think Jeff had his hand up first.
Yeah, Chris, I was just interested. Why are they splashing down in the Pacific rather than the usual landing in the Atlantic? Is there any specific reason?
Well, actually, Artemis 1 splashed down in the Atlantic, or sorry, in the Pacific, and the Dragon spacecraft that were going up to the ISS for a long time were splashing down in sort of around Florida, often in the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, if you prefer. But they've actually shifted over to the Pacific too. And the Apollo flights that went to the moon, pretty well all of them splashed down in the Pacific. All the moon ones splashed down in the Pacific. The only ones that splashed down at the Atlantic were Apollo 7, Apollo 9, which were Earth orbital flights. So,
And the earlier ones, I guess that dates me. Is there a reason that they're using the Pacific now? Is there an orbital reason, or is it just location and proximity?
I I I don't know all the specifics, but I do think that it just kind of fits in a little better with the trajectory, and they have they well they have the ship nearby. It is a little different from Apollo because back then they used to have all the half the U.S. Navy out looking for every flight, and now they've gotten so accurate that they only send out a specific ship to pick it up, which is not even an aircraft carrier or anything like that. And
No,
and perhaps a couple of other things. But yeah, I think it fits in with the trajectory. The Pacific is a bigger lake, so.
Thank you, Chris. I mean, we'll sure put a spot in for you next week also, so we can get the updates of the announcement and the other changes.
Yeah, all the post stuff, post
Yeah.
announcement stuff.
There was something else I was going to share here that just kind of came to my attention.
Maybe while you're hunting, Chris, I
Here it
think
is.
Lauri has a question as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Chris, I was just going to ask whether or not the Canadian Space Agency was tacking on to this.
In what way?
Are they also going to have some sort of a press release or
Oh yes,
anything at all?
They are usually when NASA makes a big announcement to do with Artemis 2, the CSA will be doing that too and using their various communication resources. And And just another sign that things are getting closer. If I was in Tanner's books the other day and found this here. Quite a nice little article. It's kind of it's mainly a profile of Jeremy Hansen, but it's got some nice photos and the schematic of Artemis too. And people are going down. Will be going down to the Cape. I think our own Nicole Mortellaro will be there. Lots of media. I'm sure Chris Hadfield will be broadcasting, and who knows, maybe Bob McDonald. And so we'll see what happens.
That sounds great, Chris. Wonderful. Natasha, you had a question.
Oh, Chris, just a postscript to the thing I put in the chat. I was looking again, and this may explain why there's the other 4:45 p.m. event, because it's saying that this event, the one early tomorrow morning, is invitation only for in-person attendance, and to participate virtually, people need to RSVP to Cheryl. And then there's a link how to get media accreditation. So it's possible that it would be restricted.
Maybe it's close to media, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably find out after the fact, I guess, after they've done the announcement.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's good to know.
Now, I just put up something. You should see something about Hubble and the Crab Nebula.
Yeah, I see that.
And now, actually, on the website, it has a little thing where I can move it, but I can't seem to see that here about the Crab Nebula 25 years ago versus today. But maybe what I will do is just post the.
Just post the link.
I'll post the link, but I still get all the Hubble press releases, and this looked like a neat one. When you've had the thing flying for so long, they're now able to kind of track the changes, if I can use a thing from the world of Word, to things in the universe, and this was kind of neat. So
yeah, Chris, is there a foreseeable end date for Hubble, or is it just going to go on forever?
Well, that's a good question. There's not a date has not been set. Let's put it that way. And part of it is just how long things last on Hubble.
So do you think it will just go to failure, or are they going to have just a set decommission date?
Well, it's possible it could go both ways. I do discuss that a little bit in at the end of that book I've written, but I mean, there could be something. I mean, tomorrow morning the wrong thing could conk out, and it would just be
it'd be done
sitting there. The main issue it has is the gyroscopes, and they put in a really good set with the last Hubble servicing mission, which was 17 or 18 years ago now. But there were 6 gyroscopes, and I think 3 of them have failed, and they're kind of trying to get by on 2 of them. But something else could go. In theory, if it's just left in orbit, it would be coming down, and the time is estimated to be about 2035 when it would strike the atmosphere and slow down and come down. And there's Congress has actually mandated that NASA should have a means of controlling the reentry, or when it comes down. Now, even if it was left on its own, it probably would just land in the ocean somewhere, but that's not assured. And so they're supposed to send up a vehicle to dock with it and then fire retro rockets at the right time.
Oh, so they want to kind of guide it back gracefully into the
That's
atmosphere.
right.
Okay.
But that vehicle has not been built yet, by the way. So now I actually hope to be getting some more information about that. I may be going to a conference about Hubble in June, so I may be getting the latest information about this. You know, when Jared Isaacman, the administrator of NASA, was out there in the private sector a couple of years ago, he expressed his love for Hubble and said, well, he would be prepared to bankroll a mission on a Dragon spacecraft where they go up and service it. But the abilities of Dragon to service Hubble are far less than what you have with the shuttle. So, you know, I'm not sure how this is all going to play out. But anyway, we might get another decade out of it. Of course, they also have the option of bumping it up into a higher orbit. But you know, we've got James Webb going now. The what is it? The Nancy Roman telescope is supposed to be going up soon, and there's a lot of pressure on the budgets, and it does still cost a lot of money to keep Hubble going, even though they aren't servicing it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's still probably a final chapter to be written, right?
Yeah. So I put the link to that website there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, take a look at it. You can play with the little slider and see how the Crab Nebula has changed in 25 years. So
well, that's great. Thanks so much, Chris. It looks like we have a little bit of time here. I don't know if anybody has any images to show, or I'm just wondering whether actually, you know what, I would be nice, and I don't want to put Brock on the spot, but there's been a recent renovation. You've probably already heard about what's been done with the 16. But Brock, you've had quite a number of sessions on Saturday nights now with the 16. Any things that you want to share with us?
I don't think Brock is still with us.
Oh, is he gone? Oh, okay. Well, anyways,
David,
yes,
I can show a couple of slides about the comet that is going to be.
Yeah, that's great. Just a second, Randy. CJ?
Since I have time, I don't know if I shared this picture that I found about Comet Lemon and the problem of satellites.
Oh boy.
That's
is that a recent photo?
Comet Lemon is last year.
Oh, last year, okay.
And I give credit to Oscar Martin that I found on the internet, so I give credit to the guy that took it. But he left all the satellite in the picture,
wow.
And I thought it was quite striking to see what we're facing.
We lost you, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So
do you know the difference between the heavier lines and the lighter ones? What that is?
No, I don't. But probably a different satellite size. Probably the small ones are the most numerous one are starlings, and the other ones are when you see the dotted lines, it's the exposure. So it's probably 10 seconds exposure, maybe, and then maybe in a series. So the heavier ones are probably bigger satellite. But I thought it was pretty impressive to see, what we have to process when we do astrophotography.
Yeah, I guess ultimately we just have to get more shots, I guess. I mean, isn't that the strategy, David? I mean, we're just going to have to take more and more shots. Oh, David, you have your hand up.
Oh, I was just wondering, was that over one night?
I believe so. Yeah, it's one night, and I have to look at the caption text again. But yeah, he took the picture of Comet Lemon in one night, and that's probably over a few hours of shooting. Yeah.
I can't think it's a few hours because the tree isn't fuzzy.
True.
It was short enough.
Oh, it's probably usually what they take a foreground picture and
probably
then
a composite.
composite. So let me see if I can find the more info on that picture. I'm gonna try to find the author again.
Yeah.
But more pictures, more frames. That's what it takes to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We just have to take more so they can throw more away.
But the brightness might not be just the size of the telescope. It's also where the sun is and how strong the reflection is. It's partly the size, but it's partly what time of the night it was taken.
They'll have to develop something for Pixin site to erase satellites now.
Well, it's all that stuff exists.
Oh, does it? Okay, so
yeah,
it's already there.
Yeah.
Looks like Dan Horgan wants to say something.
Yeah, please.
This is a stupid comment, but what could you make a dragonfly, maybe not a Mothra, out of all those C8s you have in storage? I don't know.
So do you want to be the project lead on that?
No. But you do see people with mounts and maybe two scopes or even three scopes.
Well, I often thought we might be able to do some C8 binoculars or something like that.
Who wants to be the chief collimator?
Not me. Yeah, not me.
David, why don't we go ahead with Randy's and then
yeah,
CJ
I was just
can
gonna say. I was
come
just
back when
gonna
he's
say.
got- Yeah.
Yeah, Randy, did you want to show something?
Yeah, I'm up. And
yeah, there's quite a number of satellites coming up. I mean, comets coming up.
yeah, sorry, I just have to move that bar. So this is kind of a potentially spectacular comet. They always say with comets that they each have their own personality and you can never tell. And they are saying this is a return of this comet. I don't know how long his period, it's hundreds of years, but they do think that it might have lost a lot of dust when it came so close to the sun before. It's a sun grazer, and so it might be a kind of a much more hardened shell. But compared to some of the other, they're called Kreutz comets. These go very close to the sun. And it's way up there. It's down at -17, -10. Remember that even in the darkest skies, the eye only sees magnitude 5, but they think, given its trajectory and the observation so far, they're thinking it's going to get up in when it's close to the sun, it's going to get up to like spectacular magnitudes. So
yeah, they definitely. I mean, on
Jupiter
the sky,
is like -1.
yeah, on the Skyhound site, they're really hopeful that it will be naked eye.
And so the trick is it's better in the southern hemisphere, that is the right, than the northern hemisphere, and that's just because of the angle of the sun. So the comet will be more vertical over the sun in the southern hemisphere. And so when it's, say, 10 degrees from the sun, once the sun is set, you have that much more time for the sky to get dark. Or here's another thing where the left is the northern hemisphere, and you see it's on this angle, whereas in the southern hemisphere, it's kind of vertical. But assuming that we have nice clear skies, we're looking at, sometime after April 5th, and look for Venus and kind of look down. As soon as the sun goes down, they're saying 20 minutes after sunset. And it's going to be brightest here, 5, 6, 7. Then it gets very faint. Let me just show you the prediction again. So that is April 4th. And so it'll be Jupiter type brightness on the 5th and 6th, but really close to the horizon. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, that has its own challenges for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, there's that is the Skyhound or the Chasing Comet website's bet, but you never know. They don't behave as advertised often. Ken, are you still out there? I don't know, let's see if Ken is still.
No, I don't see him.
No, he's gone too, eh? Okay. Yeah, no problem. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess we can maybe even end early tonight. Unless people have some more things to talk about. I'm hoping the weather's going to get better. Unfortunately, Reg is under the weather right now. I was going to ask him for a prediction, but I think we've got rain for at least this week. I think maybe near the latter part of the week. It looks like it might be clearing up. There's a star party this weekend coming up too, isn't there, Lauri? Lauri, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to check it out. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
I think possibly there might be. If not, we can open up the VCO. Perhaps we'll have to see. Are you waiting for good weather, David? Or we're always waiting for good weather, I
Am I
guess.
waiting for good weather? Yeah. I've been waiting a while.
Yeah, a long while. Well, actually, has anybody, I mean, it hasn't really been a great week, actually. I mean, I was really surprised by Saturday night because it was cold. It was really, really cold on the hill. And it was windy, a little bit windy, but we got to see the crescent moon, which was pretty kind of amazing, actually. But then the clouds started coming over. But we got to see Venus, and we got to see the crescent moon, and yeah, it was good. And I know that the 16 was operational. CJ, you were with us on the hill parking lot, right? So you weren't with Brock, right? But I know Brock had some views of Jupiter out as well. So
it was beautiful.
Yeah. You know what? It was gorgeous. It was a good night. Yeah.
Yeah, just super cold.
Yeah, it was windy and cold. Yeah.
Yeah, Lauri and I were both complaining about being popsicles on Saturday night. So,
David, I have something here. It's Saturday, April the 11th.
Nothing.
Imaging exoplanets. So I believe it might even be one of the going back to when we started a long time ago, starting imaging exoplanets and like updates on that kind of thing. So I just have that. That's the only one that's coming up is April the 11th. So it could be another couple of a good 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a service announcement before we leave for tonight. We certainly can use plenty of volunteers, right, Lauri, on Saturday nights. So, so in keeping with that, if you've been thinking about doing it, make us aware of that fact, and we will get you on a kind of a training program. In fact, right? I mean, you don't really have to know too much. They'll hopefully be almost like a buddy system where you're going to work with somebody that's experienced in it, and then learn what you need to do. So, are there other opportunities as well, Lauri, up at the Saturday night star parties? Are there other roles that people could play?
Oh, well, I mean, we always need people for the welcome desk. Like that's a really important one, is to set the welcome desk out and talk to people. We give away lots of stuff on those days, and it's a really good way of chatting with people about what's going on. And we need people in the gallery just to be, chatting with people again about some of the things that are in there, and we can certainly give you lots of information, and you don't like that you need a little bit more background, but I mean it's not hard, and people are very happy to talk with people about what's going on. Because if you just leave them, I mean, in any museum, you just you walk by and don't really do very much. But if you know a bit of a story, or you've got a person behind one of the exhibits, and that really makes a big difference. So,
Yeah. I mean, they certainly do the same thing at the Royal BC Museum. I mean, we have animators, and yeah, we certainly can do the same sort of thing up at the hill as well.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
okay.
Thanks.
Well, I don't know who's hosting next week. Jeff, are you?
Yes,
Jeff,
Jeff.
you're hosting next week?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's great. So let Jeff know if you have any things you want to talk about next week, and that's great. And let David Payne know if you're interested in the Astro photo group. That's on Wednesday. Just let him know. Communicate to him that you'd like to visit on Wednesday night. That would be great.
Sure, and you can contact me either personally or through Randy, and he'll forward the information to me if you have anything to put in next week. It looks like we're going to have an interesting session again.
Oh yeah, I think there'll be lots of news having happened between now and then, right?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, if there's nothing else, good night. Let's hope for clear skies. Good night, everybody.
For sure.
Thanks, David.
Bye.